What is up, my beautiful people? My name is G-Vans and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about the new album by CJ Fly entitled Rude Boy. This album is CJ Fly's official debut studio album, and it actually comes to us about 3 years since 2016's Flytrap. Although I did hear what CJ Fly had to offer and the potential that he has during last year's Escape from New York released by Beast Coast, this is the first ever CJ Fly album as a solo artist that I fully listened to, and I gotta be honest, although I do think it could use a bit of improvements for me at least, overall I am pretty impressed with the skills that CJ Fly already has. First of all, let's talk about the production value, because the whole album was produced by Static Selecta, and usually from my knowledge, you know, he never really like disappoints when he produces like fucking music and a bunch of other albums from all these other artists. And what I really love about this album is that it has that old school boom bap style that we've all been fucking like missing. You know, I love every single style and sound, almost every single style and sound that hip hop has to offer, but you know that boom bap sound will always be like my favorite like sound in hip hop, and I really love that it's like the like really like made this sound like a really old school like boom bap Brooklyn styled album. But as for CJ Fly himself, he's experimenting a lot with his lyricism and his storytelling. You know, he's pretty much telling, you know, his story of what it was like for him growing up in Brooklyn, and at the same time he does like find a way to mix in a little bit of his Jamaican roots into this album, which I really appreciate. You know, not that many rappers out here like are really like comfortable with that at first, so I really like that CJ Fly is not only like sort of rapping in a sort of like Jamaican accent, but he's sort of like also like mixing it with that whole like old school boom bap style. So like that's one thing about CJ Fly that I really do appreciate. CJ Fly's overall flow is honestly pretty damn impressive. You know, for this being my first ever CJ Fly project I've ever fully listened to, I do think his flow is really nice. I think his flow goes with every beat that he has on this album, and one thing I do really love and appreciate is that CJ Fly changes his flow up a little bit depending on what the song is, and also depending on who's featured on this song. For example, on the second track, Rude Boy featuring Joey Badass, you know, CJ Fly pretty much goes aggressive, you know, spitting metaphor after metaphor, going fast as fuck. And, you know, not to mention Joey Badass is also, you know, doing like the same shit, you know, kind of like they're like both on a fucking like cipher, you know, like I really did enjoy fucking CJ Fly and Joey Badass just going fucking in. And on a song called City We From featuring Griselda Records, Conway the Machine, CJ Fly is pretty much, you know, being a lot more chill about his flow, you know, like kind of sounds like spoken word poetry, you know, pretty much giving that old school like storytelling that we don't really see anymore these days. And Conway the Machine is doing the same thing. You know, I think Conway the Machine is a fucking force to be reckoned with, and just seeing him collab with somebody like CJ Fly, you know, that shit is pretty fucking amazing. And CJ Fly even works a little bit on his singing voice on this album when he collaborates with underrated R&B talents like Tina and Ocean, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing the names right, but CJ Fly does like surprisingly have a really impressive and good singing voice. I wasn't expecting his singing voice to be good, because, you know, he has like a very like aggressive and deep ass voice throughout this whole album, but you know, his singing voice is actually pretty fucking impressive. I think that's another reason why I like this album is the features, because besides Joey Badass and Conway the Machine, you know, a lot of the features on this album are people that I've never even heard of. And I really appreciate that CJ Fly is sort of like giving a spotlight to underrated talents, you know, to like underrated people that deserve recognition but don't get it. So I really appreciate him doing that. If you take the time to really listen to the lyrics on this album, you know, CJ Fly had a really rough life. You know, the man had it rough. You know, growing up in Brooklyn was not like easy for this dude. You know, a lot of the songs are really sad and deep, you know, just him expressing his struggles, you know, the hard times you see, you know, like pretty much showing us the real side of what it's like growing up in a rough environment, you know, what it's like to be doomed from the start, and just, you know, why he like had to develop this like tough skin, because, you know, obviously, you know, when you experience a lot of like trauma and a lot of hardships, you know, like it's gonna like shape the way you are today. I guess the only real complaint that I have about this album is that to me the songs sound a bit the same to each other. You know, I actually found myself getting a bit bored midway through the album, and then towards the end of the album it sort of like picked it up and got my attention again. It's not that I think the songs were trash or that I think, you know, CJ Fly isn't like as good as I think he is. I just feel that, you know, the songs just like sort of like kept like repeating the same pattern, and I like, you know, got a bit bored of that. But, you know, overall, I do think that CJ Fly has like a really great flow and has a lot of great potential, and I honestly can't wait to see what else he drops next. Overall, I definitely recommend this album to any of you who have been big fans of Pro Era for a very long time, and to anybody who really loves that boom bap style of hip-hop that you've been missing for a long time. You know, I think you're really gonna love this album. You know, it sounds like that old school, you know, boom bap hip-hop, a Brooklyn style. So yeah, like I definitely recommend this to you guys. And with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, click that bell down below, all that good stuff, so you don't miss a single one of my uploads whatsoever. And don't forget to stay happy.
Born in Fort Greene in the hospital of Brooklyn. Before me and my parents moved to Granny House on Rutland. That didn't last so long cause daddy had another woman, had to get his own.